Let's take a little break, now we've warmed you up, because you called the president a retard this week. You're laughing, most people aren't. Let's discuss after the break. Why did you call President Obama a retard? The reason let me preface it with, you're a very intelligent woman. You're very controversial, you're very intelligent. And you would have known absolutely the furore that would have come out from this. Here's the tweet that you tweeted. It was during one of the debates.
At the end of the third debate.
Right. But when you read that back, you know what you did there. You know it was a deliberately incendiary thing to say. You knew that you were using a word that would be latched on by everyone who has a disability in America as their equivalent of the N-word to black people.
I think...
Why did you do it?
I think you were doing what you were so testy with Sununu doing to Colin Powell. You were just interpreting and announcing to the world what my motives were. I was sending out a tweet.
I didn't announce anyone's motives.
Yes, you did. You did it because you knew it would be incendiary. No, I sent out a tweet that I thought was relevant at the moment, and it was, because at the end of the third debate, all the chit-chat was, why was Romney so gentle? Why didn't he go after Obama on Benghazi? Why didn't he go after Obama on the Benghazi cover-up?
But why call the President of the United States a retard?
Because it's a synonym for loser, and we were spending 10 seconds on this, or it's going to be another 2 years before I come on. Because
yeah, you're threatening me.
Angry at the word police. I need an Encyclopedia Britannica to see what words are appropriate and which ones aren't. Okay, explain to me why retard is inappropriate.
Because I heard you this morning say, look, what if I'd said imbecile, idiot, cretin, or moron?
That was 2 nights ago.
Right, whatever. Any of those 4 words, as you know, has not become, in the last decade or so, a word that is synonymously offensive to people with disability and is used in a offensive way about them by people. That is the difference.
Do you call people with mental disabilities retards? Because I don't, and I think that's a nasty thing to do.
A lot of people do to be offensive, yes.
No, they don't.
They do, and you know that.
They absolutely do not, and you know they do not.
Of course you
know no one would call a Down syndrome child a retard. It is synonymous with loser. You know perfectly well no one would use that.
That's complete nonsense.
You know what would have been offensive?
No, wait a minute. That is complete nonsense. That's the whole point. The whole point, if you talk to people who work with Down syndrome, children or whatever, they will all tell you...
You're going to keep saying that this is offensive and you're just wasting time because we only have 10 more seconds on this. We're getting to the next topic because, okay, it's offensive, and you're going to come up with 20 different ways to tell me it's offensive. It's offensive according to whom? Moron, idiot, cretin, imbecile. These were exactly like retard, once technical terms to describe people with mental disabilities. Changing the word doesn't change the condition. I was not referring to someone with Down syndrome. I was referring to the President of the United States.
I know that.
I didn't make a joke about Special Olympics the way the President did. I didn't make a joke about extra chromosome right-wingers the way Al Gore did. Those are specific conditions. I didn't call the President a Down syndrome child. I used the word retard the same way people use idiot, cretin, moron, and the rest of them, which were all once technical terms, and I've had it with the language police, and you were wrong that, oh, no one else is laughing. Everyone is fed up with the language police.
Actually, they're not, but you wouldn't use the N-word, would you? You've already said that.
Not the N-word argument. Okay, now we are back to my book mugs. No. Of course not.
Why would you make any exceptions? Why would you allow the word police, as you put it, to make any exceptions?
I should have called my book 3 books back about guilty liberal victims and their assault on America. Everybody wants to be black. No, unless you went through slavery and went through Jim Crow, I do not want to hear victims bullying the rest of America. And this is what has happened, whether it's the Jersey girls or the spokesman for the disabled. It's not the disabled, it's the self-appointed spokesman word police. The feminists on this word or that word. The gays on, oh, you can't say, oh, that's so gay now.
But you don't use the N-word because you know that it would get you into serious trouble.
No, I would never use it.
You know that it's deeply offensive.
I'm sorry, you're doing what Sununu, you're so upset Sununu did to Colin Powell. You're going to read my mind to tell me why I would use a word or not use a word. No, you're wrong. I wouldn't use the N-word because it's a curse word.
Will you carry on using the word retard?
Yeah, you've done it since that tweet.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Even though you've seen disabled people say, please stop using it.
No, disabled people are saying it. The spokesman for the
disabled people are. They are.
Yeah, I'm sure they were following my Twitter feed. This has nothing to do with disabled people. It was about the president. They have injected themselves into a tweet they have nothing to do with. No, I would think that maybe Biden should be upset by me calling the president a retard, but not an actually disabled person.
Let's take another break. Let you calm down a bit.
Oh, yeah, I think you could move on to a better subject.
It's an interesting subject.
No, it isn't.
I've never heard you back down or apologise for anything. And I think when you call the President of the United States a retard...
Oh, we have moved on from that.
Final point on it. A little part in your brain cell should go off and say, you know what, Anne? I just overstepped the mark.
Yeah, okay, explain to me why that is different, again, from cretin, moron, idiot.
For the same reason that the N-word has become completely unacceptable.
The N-word has never been anything but an
Because of the offence it causes to the black community.
No, the N-word, that's like saying the F-word.
Let me finish my sentence.
You can't just say everything is the N-word.
Let me finish my sentence. I would argue...
calm down.
I would argue the word retard has become equally unacceptable to people with disability in America.
About any word
because it is the one word of all those words, and I got them all out from the dictionary. It's the one word that has been used in the last decade or so. It has, just where you're so wrong.
No, it isn't, and you can't just go around. It isn't a better argument to say, oh, and broad, that's like using the N-word, and the illegal immigrant, that's like using the N-word, and gay, that's like using the N-word. All you're doing is making a different argument for the same argument. We are the authoritarian word police, and we will tell you which words you can use and which words you can't use. Making a joke about Special Olympics is making a joke about something that actually exists. That is what President Obama did. I would not have done that. I would not make a joke about a Down syndrome child. Retard is the same as idiot, cretin, moron. It means loser. That's what it has meant for 30 years, and the word police come in 5 minutes ago and say, no, we're going to be bossy and tell you what to do. They're the biggest bullies of all these self-appointed victims.
My God, you're calling other people bossy. I've heard it all. Let's take a little break. I've decided to award you one more segment. You've been kind of blissfully annoying, so I'm giving you an extra segment.
Okay, now we're down to 12 months.
Do you like being offensive?
Oh, please, I am not offensive. I'll tell you, liberals like being offended is the issue.
No, a lot of people find you deeply offensive.
Oh, they do not.
They do.
They love getting on their high horses.
You have a lot of fans, too. Obviously, you sell millions of books, but a lot of people find you deeply offensive. Do you mind that?
Well, manifestly not. It's kind of a gift.
A gift to be offensive?
Well, no, to annoy liberals, which isn't very hard, by the way.
Could you ever date a liberal?
No.
Really? Literally?
No, and we are not discussing dating. This interview was going so well, you had gotten it down to only 12 months before I come back.
But these are your criteria.
We're not going into dating.
That's your criteria for returning. I haven't established mine. My criteria is you are banned for 13 months. See you next year.
Thank you. See you next year.
The book is called
I am cold. Oh, yeah, let's shake hands.
No, we're not taking a fist bump. It's called Mugged, Racial Demagoguery from the 70s to Obama, lover or hater. And I can't quite work out where I am on that one. It's certainly a compelling read.
And Coulter, liar.
See you in 13 months. Next, the other side of the R-word debate.
After I saw your tweet, I realized that you wanted to belittle the president by linking him to people like me. You assumed that people would understand and accept that being linked to someone like me is an insult.
When Ann Coulter called the president a retard, it led to an astonishing open letter there from John Franklin Stevens, who goes by the name of Frank. He has Down syndrome, and he's a global messenger for the Special Olympics. I'm pleased to have Frank with me now, live tonight, along with the CEO of the Special Olympics, Tim Shriver. Welcome to you both. Frank, let me start with you, because I found your speech this morning that you wrote was extremely moving. You heard Ann Coulter there trying to insist that the word retard is not offensive. What was your reaction to that?
Well, the word retard is offensive, and that should not be. I should not be a symbol for someone who is dumb and shallow. If they wanted to use me as as a symbol, me as a symbol for someone who fights adversity.
And Tim, when you heard her getting very agitated about it and insisting she'd carry on using the word, it was no worse than moron, cretin, imbecile or whatever, what is your reaction there? I mean, you've heard this debate before. My argument to her was quite clear. I think that retard in particular has been adopted by people who want to be offensive to people with disability more than any of those other words, and therefore has a special significance that people are aware of.
I think the question isn't which word is worse. I think the reason so many people like Frank have tried to raise their voice about the word is because there's a long, long history of discrimination and humiliation against people who have intellectual differences. It goes back centuries in this country and in other countries around the world and continues today. People are denied health care, denied education, denied employment, denied their humanity, made fun of, ridiculed, and humiliated. And most people don't even realize it's going on. And so this word in particular has carried the sting of that humiliation. And for many people, Frank is a wonderful and articulate spokesman for millions of people who, when they hear that word, are reminded of all the painful ways in which they have to struggle against that adversity every day. So they've just made a simple request, and that is to make people aware of the fact that the word hurts, that the word is a reminder of that humiliation, and try to be aware of it so that we can do better in the future. It's not an attempt to police folks. It's just an attempt to invite them into seeing the world with a more joyful and accepting way, and to see this population as part of the future that we all want to build, that's more harmonious and accepting for everybody. Yeah,
I completely agree with you. I think it was a facile argument. Frank, let me ask you, I mean, if you met the President of the United States, have you ever met him?
I have. I recently was at the White House at the signing of Rose's Law. Have you
what I was going to say to you was that, putting aside the word retard that she used, I just thought being that offensive about the President of this country in itself is offensive. I couldn't imagine that you would ever say anything offensive about your President. Do you think there's a wider argument that, putting aside the disability, the word retard, the offense it causes to people like yourself, that actually you should just show more respect to the President?
Of course. I mean, people should respect the President because, one, I don't know if the President has ever been bullied as a child before, but I know that people, when people get bullied and when people use the R word, it's just offensive.
Yeah, Tim. I mean, Tim, you come from obviously a big family with presidential history to it. There is a sort of sense that Washington's getting so poisonous that the punditry and commentary on cable television, network television, everywhere really, that the language being deployed and casually deployed about the President, about, great politicians in this country is getting so ridiculous that it just diminishes everybody.
It really, I mean, and I think this is why people like, the athletes of Special Olympics, Frank, again, as an extraordinary representative of them, have such a powerful message, which is, that we're almost becoming, it seems like a nation of bullies. We bully people in sports, we bully children in schools, the rhetoric in politics is bullied, left bullies right, right bullies left. People like Frank and his fellow athletes, it's not a partisan issue. This movement's been supported by Republicans fabulously as well as by Democrats. There's no attempt to make political points here. What we're trying to do with Ms. Coulter and with everybody, it's not just her. It's not personal to her. As Frank has said in his letter, he sees her as a friend that he just hasn't met yet. What we're trying to do is say that a culture of bullying, a culture of using words that are painful, and words do matter. Our writers know this especially, and Ann's one of those. Words matter, and the way in which we use words matter, and we might want to take a step back from where we found ourselves as a culture and try to open ourselves to a kind of dialogue that promotes a much more tolerant and a much more harmonious and a much more, I would say, communal vision of the future.
Frank, let me give you the last word. You signed the letter to Ann Coulter from a friend you haven't met yet. What would you like to say in conclusion?
I would like to say thank you. You helped me make 3.2 million new friends.
Frank,
I wish that you would be one more.
I'll see what I can do. Let's try and make it happen. Frank, it's been a Frank, it's been a delight to have you on my show. Congratulations on being such an inspiration, and also thanks to you, Tim Shriver. I really enjoyed having you both on. Thank you.
Thanks.